Yes, on the dart jet, was it dart?
Yeah.
Dart jet. Yes, we've been everywhere. He's just talking about our little jaunt up the Dart River. A photo of us on the boat.
Down. It was me, Perry.
We went to Glenorchy.
Lachlan, Chula and Juby.
All together.
All went down together.
Dart River. Well, that was an area where the Panamu way down.
Yeah,
well, Glenorchy, you had Queenstown and Glenorchy.
Greenstone. Beautiful, blue colour. Yeah.
We went, they put us in this Splash Hotel.
We've been down there to where it comes from.
Now, this is a story he's going to tell you that's worth hearing, because never go to that same place and say you're from Taupo. Why is that? Why is that?
They put us in this place because they really put it on for us. This is Ngāi Tahu. And they put everything on, so we went down and put us in this. So we had our own rooms, you see. We had our own rooms.
I had the best room, and I got kicked out of that because someone wanted to do his business.
We had our own little thing outside, little courtyard, and tucker, because they put us in all these flash restaurants, and because it was the rich food, and our older ones wanted a boiler. So here we are in this thing. So
Taupo boiler.
Where they get some, go and get some pork bones.
Couldn't find any puha lying on the side of the streets.
So anyway, Tucker goes in, and he's the cook who cooked us all this water. So he went into, was it Chula's room or your room?
That was my room, because I had to leave this room because he wanted to buy the office to do his big business deals as people walked in and out.
So he's cooking away there, and anyway, we all gathered and went outside. And anyway, the people were moaning because the smell went right down the passageway. Walking in, the smell was full up going. So we're sitting out there having a few beers, and we're sitting on the balcony looking out. Oh, can we see this fire engine coming up the road? There must be a fire somewhere.
The first of all the emergency services.
Yeah. So it comes up and thinks, goodness, it stopped out here. So look at, here's the smoke coming out of his room.
Oh, no.
Filling the corridor.
Good, he's all put on fire. Anyway, boiler. So it was in the papers. People from Two Whānatoa caught on fire through a boiler. So it was all over the news.
The police told me it was the first time Queenstown's had all the emergency services, all of them attend. The ambulances and fire engines and the... And when I ran in the room, I was trying to steer some panicking Asians. I say, go way down there. I went in the room, and here he is trying to fan the smoke. You could barely see him. Oh, dear. And the bus driver took us to Glenorchy next day. That's all he was talking about.
Can I steer the kōrero over now to the 21st century or the 20th century to include where Jimmy came into this world, because that, and if you two go back a long time, could you just kind of maybe reminisce a little bit about when you first came to this area and what you were doing at that time when you first met each other, because we're going back decades and decades.
The snowfall of 1959, was it? All this area was covered with snow. But we'd go to what was called a honeymoon pool, swimming up the thing, usually at night after picture theatre, so it was all dark, and everyone just went in there.
Is this when you can remember
meeting up with Jimmy? It was called, they called it the honeymoon pool.
Yes.
The right name for that is the Kiriohinekai pool. That was the Kiriohinekai pool there. So so when we were young, and I wasn't as much as a hooligan as what Perry was. Perry was quite, yeah, that's all the recording.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry.
He's a legend.
But yeah, a lot of us went there then to that. Yeah,
After
that's
the pub.
after the pub. But spent a lot of time at Wairakei. My family anyway. They occupied around here and down the bottom, around where the power station is today. Because the Kiriohinekai stream went out down through there to its mouth into our awa, Waikato. So that was a place when the river was still narrow and different things like that. But at that time they were building the dam at Addison, doing all that. So right down to Atahaka is part of a lot of our area from around. So Nukaho down to Atahaka was sort of a place where all of our families occupied and fished. They got fish down at what they call the Whaitaima flats, if you like, and even at Wairakei there, where they and Pitiroi, he was my great grandfather, right? And he farmed down there for his hapu. It wasn't as if he was farming for commercial use. They farmed for their whānau. And of course, like I say, the river was narrower down there, so their ground went down to Ataka, where we got Urupa, and also down in that area. And when they dammed, it got flooded. But yeah, a lot of my time was, we went down there. We had our gardens down there at the time, around there, Atahaka. So I was privileged to be around at that time. And went with a lot of my older cousins. I was one of the younger ones down there. So yeah, bathed in the streams, and it was just a way of life. Horse tracks everywhere. We all of us as kids had horses, so it wasn't too far to go on a horse. Yeah. So when I got later on in years, we had a different meeting with Hapu, and that was part of when the Rauhoto Land Rights group first started, the different Hapu, which I was on the first group. And we were asked, myself and my wife were in business at the time, and we were asked, would we look at doing what we're doing now? It took a long time for me to do that at that time, because we were quite happy with what we were doing. We had our charter business. We had a little sports shop in town, and we were doing horse trekking and different things, so we were quite busy. But anyway, from there we were able to come here, which we ended up here at Wairakei Terraces. Okay.
The Te KIRI or HINEKAI stream is, you can't trace the outlet now. It got cut off with the works development and diverted into the Wairakei stream. So the historic stream to the outlet is just shy, just one side of the hooker, the prawn park there. But the physical bounds of the stream, that's lost among many changes.
And can I just ask a little question about Netcor and what led to the establishment of that? Because that was when I first met you, about not long after it got going, and I walked through with the calves and I went, wow, this is amazing initiative from a Facts Roots initiative, Hokaina, and I've watched what you and Roman have achieved over the years, and because we're little entrepreneurs ourselves, and it's always inspirational for us to see others who have the courage to go and do things in the field of education, and particularly Te Ao Māori education. That's pretty admirable from my point of view. And I would just like to hear a little bit from, in your words, about, you know, you and Rowan, because it wasn't you tōko tahi, eh? You were a team, from my understanding, and if you could just kind of share a little bit about that journey, because it's evolved now. Is it still going Netcor, or is it?
Yes, it is.
It is still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just going back to when going back to the whole land rights route, because I was in business, and one of Contact Energy spoke to us, and it was Bill Heaps was his name at the time. He was a general manager, and he wanted someone from Hapu to do something out there and to bring the culture side in as well as what's happening today. So it's part of today and the past to bring them together and go on a sort of a journey as a collective. So yeah, I at the time, my time, and then myself and my wife Raven, we were quite, like I say, we were quite happy where we were. We were quite busy, and it took a bit of persuading for us to come here. One of the things was, you know, why me? I had my mother. Like I say, she's from our Kiriohinekai family, who was saying, yes, come out and at least have a look. And we had a lot of our kaumātua, our rangatira at the time, said, you know, we'd like you to just go and have a look. Because I was in business, I suppose, to have a look at what was happening. Also because a lot of our upbringing, with myself and Raven, being on the Ramaka side, which we can affiliate to out here. So I think when I come out here, they knew, like most entrepreneurs, as you say, was I'm a person, they say you need to walk around with your eyes closed. Sometimes you come out and you listen, and then you get a vision. And it's hard when you get a vision, just comes to you. And what struck me about it was what was here, what KIRI and what he does, sees, and what he just spoke about, all of it has disappeared. So for me, it was to try and go back in time and have at least a window of what the past was. So our kaupapa has never ever changed, and that is to put back, try and the best way we can put back the past. So I think by doing that, you had to be more involved with the whakapapa, with what happened out here and all that type of thing. And when we first came out here, there was all the activities. As you know, these are upper and lower table, and the geothermal extracts from the lower table. So that, because the pressure goes, the top table subsides. So we lost a lot of our features, and even from the time we came here, a lot of the features were still there. The Elm Lakes were still there. The Ori was, all those things were still active. They've gone now, which is very emotional. It's hard. It's so hard to be here and see that happening. So we're faced with that too. We're faced, it's like, I'm a type of person that, you know, we are the land is us. We whakapapa. Our whakapapa. If you see some of it go like that, it's like part of you getting pulled away from you. And I think when you're here, you're living with it. It's hard to describe what we have to go through. So we try our best. We try our best, and we try and put back at least, and with our education and things. So I suppose when we came here, we probably I can't. We were put the side we were put on, and we never knew at the time when we first come here. We started cleaning up working bees. We never had a lot of money. Different ones. We created a company where different whānau members put what money or what little money or time into it to establish what we got to create the shares in here. So it wasn't just about myself and about Raven. There was a lot of our other families that come in to support the kaupapa within here. And they're still here today. They're still around. So we had a vision. We shared that vision. But we were the old people that were alive when we first came here, you know, sometimes you're a bit too ambitious. You want to get things, and they pull you back, which is a good thing. Slow down and things. So we had to make sure everything was right. We had to make sure our stories were right. And I'm a person that I can only tell you what I saw and what I was told. I don't want to look at a book, and because people write books, they say these are the things that happen. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're right, but there's a lot of other people that are right too. Who've got their stories. So it's about where we are. I can only tell my story. I can only tell what's been told to me. Same as Perry. He's only telling you what he knows. And
Yes.
I know with Perry, he sat with a lot of our old people. My mother, my grandfather. Perry was around, and they trusted Perry. And that trust carried. I haven't got the right. I can't say that they were wrong. I can say, well, they told me if they're right, they say he's right. Well, that's good enough for me. Yeah, so around here, we built the first terraces, man-made terraces, to try and put back the Wairakei Terraces that were originally here. It was called Wairakei Terraces because of the Wairakei Terraces that were originally here.
Can you just give us a year when that work started on because already the silica has formed an amazing kind of connectivity with what you've put in, and to me it just confirms that you can remake things if you've got the right processes.
I can say we've been here 27 years. So now, it's 2002 now, so about 27 years now we've been here. So those activities were going at that time. But yeah, like I say, well, we didn't know what we were walking into until we got here and started working bees, cleaning up. We found that we were on 4 dump sites. So the most of our journey here, and it was blackberry, wilding pines on here, different things. All the native you're going to see when we go, we planted all that.
I remember.
Yes, you know, so we're still planting today. We're still. There was no stream running down there. That was all diverted or subsided. Contact Energy were able to supply us the water back into the stream via well, because it's all subsided. So again, we can't get back. We can't. But with the support of Contact Energy, or Contact Energy came in later on as Contact Energy, but we always say, took it away, put it back, at least put it back, put the soul back into the Kiriohinekai. So part of our thing is what Perry talked about. The Kiriohinekai stream is a main factor. Mātaroirangi is all about, this is what it is. Mātaroirangi, here, all those stories are here. Wairakei was a place, as it's called, Wairakei, Waiora Valley, whole valley, from the Awa all the way up to where the Wairakei Terraces were, and another way went up into the Pelham Lakes, into Waiora Valley that goes right up to Kiriohinekai. So yeah, so these parts are gone where the Wairakei Terraces originally were. There's no the stream. I can't even see the stream on some of the maps today. It's been taken away. Where the mouth goes. So the mana's been. So what we're trying to do at the moment is put that mana back to Kiriohinekai. Give it back its mouth, because it goes into the Wairakei. So we want to give that mana back to, which we're slowly getting support to do that. So this is part of probably one of my last journeys, is to try and do that and we want to replant this whole stream going down there in Rongoa, back in Rongoa, as we were, all our native plants were all white. I was putting them back, and also adding a bit of what's coming today. Talk about the past and today by doing it. But we came in without knowing, and I say it was a silica dump, household rubbish dump, spoil dump, asbestos dump. So these are some of the things it's hard. It's like pulling your heart out.
I understand it. Akahata, it's like Is it like that?
Haka is another place where it's just full of squirrel.
Yeah.
There, all down through there. My mother used to say that when my koro was given a check, he ripped it up and he cried. First time she ever seen him cry. It was done there. That was our gardens. It was our urupā. These are some of the things that I've seen in my life. Here's our heart.
Yeah, and money is an insult in terms of the damage. Doesn't fix the damage that has been done. And
it's not about money. It's not about, we have people coming in here to see what we're trying to achieve and want to. It's not about that. You can't sell your soul. Yeah. So it's more. It's more to. We're fortunate with the people we got around us. We're very fortunate. My youngest son is the general manager here now, and he built the pools. He done things like that. So it's carrying on. I got two sons working here, but all of our other families, some of Clinton's family, the ones are they're all coming back and working. So we're doing what we can.
that must feel so good, for you in your lifetime to see the arc and how you've been part of something that is allowing this kind of intergenerational kaupapa, really, that is feeds the soul as well as the bank balance in terms of providing you with a living. I mean, this is, like I said, this is a glowing example of where Māori entrepreneurs can shine, and really, the more I hear you talk, the more it makes me proud that you're able to walk for so long on this path and see transformation gradually, that after you go, your sons will be carried forward and by others, families as well. I think it's
I think that's what life is. If you truly whakapapa do something, do it. Try and do it. We've been fortunate. We've been fortunate with the people around us. We've got a lot of battles. There's a lot of battles. It's unbelievable. It's something that was said to me. My father, very little Pākehā, my father. That's my hill side. He was a businessman. I was, when I went to school, all I wanted to do was look out the bloody window. That was me.
Not the only one.
But it wasn't until I met a lot of people in tourism. I was on the Māori tourism, the first Māori tourism board. Went on there, and something I did learn about all of it was that about something my father said was, he said, look at business and what you're doing, because sometimes I get sort of depressed and think, oh God, just nothing goes right, and you feel, well, whatever you do, the more you do, the more flack you get. So you get into that, and when you're in business, it's like you're the last person to be paid. You got to make sure everyone's else paid before yourself. So a lot of people in business will tell you that. So you have those times, and so what keeps us going is our whakapapa, those ones that are behind us, that push us. And you should look at things like the sea. It's like going along and there's a big wave coming. You've got to go up that wave. You get to the top, you think, God, next minute you go down again. There's another wave coming. And there's something was said, until you know how to ride those waves, you know you're doing all right. And it's a fact. It's something just simple. I suppose that's part of that. But I can, go on from learning about silica, learning about what the water done in its healing, what we've done here in Waiora Valley, from curing leprosy with the clays and all that sort of it. Those things there we got to treasure and do things about. So it has its story, it has its good. So that's what keeps you here. But it's.
As a storyteller myself, and that Netcor was focused on training in whakairo, so storytelling through whakairo. Are some of those around I imagine some of
They're
those
all-
stories
They're all
are,
through
so every carving will have a story
here.
to
Has a
it.
story.
Oh, man.
And I'll quantify what Jim's been saying. I personally saw, not casually, plant trees around Atahaka area, the trucks, truckload after truckload coming with this concrete, with the rubbish and that, all to be dumped into round Atahaka, the old gardens and the places there. And not only that, I remember the time with guides used to operate a thriving tourism place at the valley up here, the Thermal Valley, and then it had closed down for at least 10 years. The life was sucked out of it, and all the geothermal power, all the geothermal bores and that they had completely killed all that. You recall that? Just completely died. It was only years later when bores were going further out, it started slowly coming back to life again. Time where they had the Maori guides there. And there'd even be postcards of the places with the guides and that issued at the time. So saw great changes.
It's changed a bit, which is it needs to, like I say, it needs to step back and relook at things.
Mm.
It's about new ones coming up. We've sort of come off, and the big thing, one of the main things why Rauhoto Land Rights was put together was all about consultation, but also looking at both sides where they come from. This is where we come from, and trying to get a medium to be able to go forward. But one of the things at the beginning of it was that we told the kaumātua about that, so that's consultation, but no one else knew. So we try to say, well, it needs to go back to the marae, it needs to go back there, talk with all the hapu. Then you can say you've done proper consultation, not just put burden on one kaumātua and say,
Use their name.
use that person's name without them realising what they've actually just done. So all that come out. So we had a battle to talk about, yes, different ones might own the land or brought it, their ownership is by their signature on the Crown or whoever. This is your land. So they become kaitiaki, if you like. But these stories that go with it, and I think this is what needs to be said before you put a building on there. Make sure. So this is where KIRI and Gail was involved with the sites of significance to say there's a red flag, come on here if they want to build, to say re-look at that. So all that was put together back then. So it done a good job at the time, but it still needs to consult today with the right people. It's hard when they say, oh, we're going for resource consent, but all of a sudden, because we've created a business, and when I go for resource consent and say, well, I want to talk to hapu, because I am hapu, I can't change who I am. I'm a person in business, and I'm from the hapu. And all of a sudden, I become, in the eyes of some, a conflict of interest. So it becomes a battle in that side of it. Thinking, oh my God, But so these are some of the things that we have to sort of put up with and do different things. But I think long as we keep honest within ourselves and keep our focus on the kaupapa, why we came here, I think we'll be all right, hopefully. Yeah.
You spoke of waves. The COVID wave has been one that's affected nearly all businesses, including this one. I mean, it feels you've still got staff in that cafe, beautiful rangatahi there working. You've weathered the storm is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
The wave is passing now and your boat is still, our boat's nearly capsized, but yours, this boat here seems very still, tina in the water, it's still very...
Yeah, I suppose there's a cover, it's a cover. All of our staff, we were fortunate we didn't have to put any of our staff off.
Oh, it's amazing.
We've got up to 30 staff here. It's with our different part-time ones with therapy. We do a lot. We do education. We've been doing that for a long time. went away from that, and we're doing started a couple of pilot courses now to do it in a different way to what we first went in. And we were accredited. We were known as the preferred provider for mental health. So we retired from NZQA so that we can look at doing something what the participant wants to do, not so much what the provider or thing want them to do. So we've totally changed that around. So we were fortunate enough to get two pilot courses to look at doing it this way, which I think will be better for the participants more than the provider. I believe this shouldn't, for me, we talk about profit. If you look in, profit isn't about money. What's a profit? Define a profit. Money coming later. A profit can be what you see, what you get out of something, or what someone else gets out of it. Not so much the money, I think. But you also need money to function these days. With COVID, we got a subsidy that helped us tremendously. That was great. We were closed down. We had to close the doors. Our therapy, our massages, and that sort of it, we couldn't do during that time. We've only started doing this again now. Pre-COVID, we built ourselves up to we were having about 130,000 people a year coming through. I remember when we first started, if we got 3,000, we thought, man, we're doing all right. We had to build a big car park. That car park during the weekends now is not big enough. So, it goes on and on. And you think, couldn't wait to see people come through. And next minute you're putting your head under the.
And now where do we put them?
But it's good. It's creating work and different things, and it enables you to do more. We had a lot of things we had in infrastructure we wanted to do, and we've been saving like mad to do the infrastructure, putting everything we do make or any extra money we get, we put it back into it again to build it up more. A lot of us have done a lot of voluntary work around for many years, just to get the pleasure of what we see, what we do. That to me that's my profit. Seeing that, seeing young ones, rangatahi, coming in and doing something, and seeing family working, that to me is my profit.
Yeah.
That's good enough for us. So I still walk around with high vis on, and people think I'm the janitor. They come and ask me to have a meeting. Can I come to meet Jimmy Hill? Oh, you need to go to the reception, and they all laugh and send them back to me again. But anyway, that's who we are. We were lucky enough to go through it. Our numbers went way down. Our cultural evenings we do. We had to pull our main buildings down that we shifted up because they didn't. All of a sudden there was an earthquake standard. They didn't meet the earthquake standard, and Clinton helped us a lot with that. That's what I mean about family helping. And so we have to rebuild a lot of these things. Because we had to pull the building down, we had to stop all of our cultural evenings. So that we lost a lot of people through that. Yeah, we had one party, we had up to 50 people, so down to 30. So we're rebuilding again. So we hope to, in a couple of years, it's forecast that we should have around 60 back around here. So, I can't wait. Lucky they all got other jobs. They had other jobs waiting. We found jobs for them because, so no one lost work. Yeah.
Seems to me like things are in a really good stead because of this. You weren't rushing into anything. You've allowed it to build organically with the resources available to you. You haven't overextended yourself.
You've got to be so careful. You've got to be committed in any business you go into. You've got to make sure you're solely committed. Otherwise, not going to work. Like I say, we're working doing infrastructure. We had money put aside for infrastructure. And when COVID happened, so we had to use that money to keep our staff. So, yeah, we move on. So, that's us. It's keeping all of our family going. It's good to see. It's good to see them still here. Like I say, it's not about us. It's about all them too. It's all them that work here. They all part of that vision. Your best resources are human resources. Yeah.
Yes, and it's a testimony that so many whānau are still here after all these years. It's the way you are running the business, the way the business has been run.
We've some of them have passed now. Some have been here from the beginning, still here. They'll be still, they'll be here forever, I think. Yeah, we've had there's a few of them around, been here well over 20 years, still here. Just places part of them. Home.
The whātau,
Do you have anything to say, Kiri?
No, I just appreciate the connections that were made in the whole through you and Jim. We've all come together just to be here. I had no idea I'd be here yesterday, of course, until you told me you're on your way, and so this is part of the record keepers and the journeys and exchanges of our ideas that we bring collectively a generational thing that is just now lost to the society today, society of individuals and the pressures of or excuses of not connecting with the past to bring the present and pass on to the future. And this is one of the let's say not the template, but the ideal that can be done in a practical way with the right people and right attitudes. Anything can be done and reconnected.
We talk about atahaka down, which for us is all part of this. We got 4 prefab buildings we took down. We got consent to take them down to Atahaka. We wanted to put an outdoor pursuit centre down there. So we took 4 prefab buildings down there that they were actually gifted to us, the 4 prefab buildings, by Fletcher Challenge. They were out at Wairakei out there. So like when you first start off, different ones, you put them for different things. Always you look at a letter and it says, thank you for a letter, but it's not going to happen. So, then we were told to put in for these buildings, these 4 particular buildings. So we put in and asked for, could we purchase them at a fair price? So a letter came back to us and said, I regret you cannot sell them to you. I would like to give them to you. So, someone said to me, keep reading. So anyway, we had to pick them up, transport them. So we picked them up, and the idea was to transport them to Atahaka because of down there you got what they call today full games, rapids, and all that sort of thing, for kayaking and different things. And it's ideal to tell a story. It's all about like plus everything's well-being. This whole place now is a well-being centre, and that's what part it is. And it's so we took it down there, and anyway, we went to dig the piles, and that's it's
rubbish.
There was rock, steel, rubbish all underneath. So a consent was given to us, thinking that there was not, to start putting it down. All of a sudden, we're on a dump. the buildings all were sitting on it, and it's massive. It's massive. What Perry was talking about.
That's the ones I physically saw.
We've been there.
Not, I pointed out Atahaka across the river as we've journeyed down to, as I say, the so-called Full James Rapids. But that wasn't the end of the story about the poor buildings. That's what was happening as I was sitting there. So what happened, I've got photos of all this.
Yeah, so that's so, and a lot of it come back at that time. It was given back by Doc, but they kept the pieces by the river. And this was part of where all the gardens were. And so, anyway, they were left on drums, because those days you could leave the buildings on drums and different things. So we took one part of it, we were cleaning up Blackberry and all that, and we had a machine down there. What they had told us was it was all cleaned up. Well, to us it was cleaned up. It's nice and clean. We didn't realise they just put dirt all over the top of it. Put all topsoil on and called it cleaned up. And anyway, there was a part there that still had a bit of bush and a few things. So without knowing it, I was on the machine and cleaned up someone's marijuana plot. Pushed it all over. And so we went away, and about a few days later we went back, and every window, all the walls were smashed down there. So it just showed this was something else we went through because of
all the not only that, but all the fixtures, all the electrical appliances, the connections all just ripped and vandalised. It's I've got photos of all this. It's a sad. It was sad. It was so sad, you know, just to see not only on top compounding everything else, but the so much potential.
It sort of, you know, just shows you what, you know, the journey that we've had to come through again, like where's this? How are we going to fix these up? So we had to, and just the cost of the truck removals to take them down there. So we had to lift them up, wrecked as they were, and we brought them up here. And so when you see those today, we've fixed all of it. It all takes time. It all takes time, and no support. No, it was all just. This is what a lot of people don't realise. You know, it was just again have to find more resources and money to fix all this up, and to, you know. So it's been a battle right through. It's been a battle. Thank goodness for this. It's helping. It's definitely helping through here when we built the pools. But this is what a lot of people don't understand. You know, it's not about, oh, he's right, he's got a business. Look at the car park. They see the cover. They don't see the engine room. This is something that's part of the journey. Yeah, I can tell you a lot of stories on that side of it, but, you know, let's say we need to move forward.
Keep moving.
And you know, it's hard. But yeah, we're meant to be retired 20 years ago.
Does anyone believe in that anymore? Retirement? What does it actually mean?
Well, we built our home. All the buildings here now belongs to the companies. We used to lease this one. We done it. We bought this, done it up. It is what it is today. The workshop, we own that now. We're leasing that for a little while. And we found things there where, you know, a lot of disputes going on with different things. We're meant to buy that way back, buy the buildings that got put down. We were going to buy them and we were told not to because we found out later it met the earthquake standard, had war in it. They were trying to get us to buy it. I won't say who, but anyway, so it's been a hell of a. But when you see what's happening today, you know, you have to think, well, all we've got to do is make it easier. Or, you know, if we walked out of it now and left it to our young ones, it's not right. So we've got to try and do our best to get it right, to make it easier. They're going to carry on with battles like everyone does. But, they're getting stronger. Yeah, so I say to people, you know, you need to see it. We were finding it hard to put in for different contracts and different things by talking about it. But it was only till you finally, well, it was my son Raymond, one of my sons said to me, "Let's do a drone. Let's take this place to them," which he did. So he did a drone and took it, and yeah, it started from there. Things started happening. From KIRI can show you what the past looked like to what it is today.
The old road went right up this valley and connected up to get onto Oronoi. This before all the highways and extensions. But everything was dirt roads everywhere. Here to Hawke's Bay, right through to Rotorua, up to Mamaku's.
Would it be possible for us to come back sometime and just film around around, because it's like you say, we can talk about what's been achieved, but pictures will tell that story so much more eloquently than words can.
Well, even the lost pools, it's just so sad to see the life has gone out of those now, up the back there.
Even to document things like that.
And
in
where the
2022.
pools are today, the pools were put there because we wanted them there.
Yes.
The old people said this is where the pools were. This is where we came. So these pools down here, there were pools down there. Didn't look like that. There were pools here. Another little bath up the top, because please quote me if I'm wrong, Perry, but up the main road comes through here.
Yes.
Down through there, up through there. That was the main road to Oronui.
I used to take cattle trucks, drive cattle and stock, and right through to Oronoi. So I drove right through Broadens and through here, the old Hooker Falls, and right through. So I've still got vivid memories of the old roads and places.
So when we put the grass down, just behind here, that was all metal under there. So from this, so the road come up from the top here, and through there. And as it says, on the way there was a series of pools all the way up the road. So it's about, when you start cleaning up in that, you find them. Where we did this one, we found quite a way down, you find a bed, you find old bottles down there. So you know you're in the right place. To put the bed back in this place was because of the silica. We were able to get the stream bed back to exactly where it was. It was no water running down there then. We had to clean all the old bed up and do all that. Yeah, it was let's say interesting. Interesting what you find.
Must have been so many little mini victories along the way when you see the water start to flow again. That must have.
The day they turn the tap on, if you like, or put the tap, started flowing the tap over the terraces. To be there that day. We had places where they had, because there was a series of mud with different clays, so we actually built through steam, we built a mud thing with the ochre red, because there was brilliant red pools, the ochre pools.
Do they still exist, the ochre pools?
They've all subsided. It's still there, the holes are there, but they've subsided.
So is the ochre still there?
Ochre's still there.
Plentiful
ochre.
The reason why I inquire is the Māori Rock Art Collective that Whaitaima and I and Perry are part of. Part of our kaupapa is to learn and revive the use of kokowai making, how it was powdered and then used in a lot of artwork and things like that. And
what we're doing with a lot of the clay, because this place was known as a place of healing.
Yes.
It was well known for it because of the clays, the silica water.
Yes.
We got whānau that come here, they take the silica water away and reheat it, filters. All the water, so these are the things as you go along, you start, when you're living here and living it, you start to understand it. Understand its uses. How things grew here, plants that didn't grow anywhere else. There's still these parts of this water that they didn't even know yet, that we've been told by genius. So it is amazing water. And so the clay got the ochre. You have all the colours. Paru, the black is here. We find it and we bury it again. Something to be treasured and we know where it is. But again, we do different rongoa or different some of our kaumātua, we put it together. But that's some of the things some of the future things we are looking at.
Have you ever steeped any of the carvings in the pool in the red clay? Because I understood that's in Aotearoa in the old days. That's what they used to do to preserve. The whakairo was actually immersed in these pools.
Yeah, I think
they preserved their cloaks, flax cloaks. That was the red, the permanency of the red dye and the old hand woven cloaks.
But I
was in Kokowai.
Wairakei pools were used.
Yeah, they did preserve it. Well, these places around where there are like tōtara, like it's still the same as the day that it was put in there, preserved.
And does the kokowai colour still stay over?
Oh yeah,
we've seen it on walls around the limestone.
Definitely. Well, that's that was what they say, Perry. That was their resin paint shop.
Well, there's their paint pots.
That's really special mātauranga, it's special to here, unique to here, that gives it something that can't be, I think that's really important.
The individuals could have like tukumes, could get individual digging spots and areas, or hepatamamutu, to get digging rights in north of here. On the other end, he had to trade a slab of Panamu or native garments.
Wow.
Just to have personal digging rights. Otherwise, to dig it collectively, and they dug it by the tonful, and that's where it was distributed all around because south of the Taupo region, you don't get the kokowai. And so that became an important trade source because of its properties.
Even down in Te Waiponamu, there's no kokowai.
There were apparently, they said there were no kokowai there. I found a source near Dunedin, and there's another one by Nelson, but I worked with the experts who were trying to come into these regions and take samples, and I went with them. They sampled both here and Mangakakaramea, Rainbow Mountain, in a few places, because they're convinced that there was no source in South Island. So they assumed that the kokowai applications in the South Island on rock walls were all came from the North Island. But now we know they also had local sources. But it was important and valuable trading commodity for domestic use and trading. Wairakei was one of the key places that it was manufactured.
In terms of Te Whare Toa entrepreneurs and entrepreneurialism, what I've seen since the development of the Okuta Bay rock carvings is a whole lot of non-Māori tourism businesses benefiting and generating income through what is a very Māori, cultural heritage. Do you see there being any opportunity in the future to change that around so that there are initiatives such as like what you've set up that are controlled by Aukainga, determined with the tautoko of the hapu? How do you see that's the future pathways, and how do we achieve mana moana again? Because I think that's gone.
I think that's for the rock carving itself. I think that's put there. Like Greg Whitewell was one of the carvers for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Clinton could probably talk more on that because he's from there. On that side, well, he lives there. Put it that way.
That'd be lovely.
We're all from there too. It's sort of, but like, for that, I think it does a lot for everybody. That one, the way I see it, there are parts where, yes, we do keep that mana for different places. Like here, I think rightfully, it belongs with hapu to be able to sustain themselves if it's in one way, whether it's be putting clay on you or putting food in your cupboard. It's doing the same thing in a way. I think there's some big stories here. The stories alone, like to bring people here to feed our families by doing that. So I think it meets its. There are places where, yeah, it is ours. And there's something about us as Māori is that they can't take that away from us. We are who we are. And there's some of the stories you hear. I've been on when we did chartering, when I had my charter business.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, well, before I come here, we had I had a 51-foot charter launch. I had another charter boat, and that was part of my. I had Wairakei was the name of our boat. We did a lot of overnight trips and different things like that. Yeah, so that was a big part of me before I came here. And I still had the launch when I came, and we put a skipper on it, but it's like everything. Yeah, a boat, it needs someone on it all the time to look after. They like babies, boats. A big launch like that anyway. Yeah, so we've been there, and through that, like the track from Nukaho that went to Kawakawa Bay, that was a track that when I was a young fella, that I was privileged to go with my calls and that, went around there hunting, and we went as far as Kawakawa and camped at Kawakawa.
That's what they called the Poihipi Trail, where you started on the old Poihipi Trail.
We went right to there, and that was something that I'm a person that I learn best by see, touch, and do. And I remember, we used to go along there with our horses, and we got to different areas. We were told to grab the dogs and leave the dogs because of koiwi and around the place in caves and things like that. So I'm fortunate enough to know where some of the caves are along that track. So every time, hold the dogs, grab the dogs, lead them past these places. And it's amazing. And then being with the old ones, when you're waiting for the dogs, they take off. Stories come out about the areas. They are cool around there. And when you listen to them at those times, it stays in there. And when we had our charter boat, and one part there, we knew when the horses hooves again or clonking were on top of the cave. It was hollow underneath. So these are things you don't forget. So that part there for our hapu over there to there means a lot, that trail. Something, I read different things and they say the trail, they talk about after that where it only went so far. No, it went, as KIRI said, it went all the way along there. And our people went there. And Kawakawa Bay was a special place.
I've heard. We haven't been there yet, but we're waiting.
It's a special
W2K track or WK2 track. That's why Mariah and others agreed that I monitored right from the time of land survey when walking tracks got through. So it wasn't deliberately to go on these places. It was for avoidance of the places and well distance away from those. Yes. So through the practical things, you just can't assume that everything you see now will stay unchanged, for future developments or land use and properties.
And those things are part of you, and I can only tell when people say, what do you know about it? I can only tell what I see, touch and do. Mm-hmm. That's what, so when you hear other stories, you think, not quite right. But anyway, for you, it's right. But for me, I can tell a story too. What I saw, what I felt, what I did. That way I can say it. And when I do talk that, and I'm with Perry, he always backs me up. And another side, how he's seen it, I say, oh, Tika, we're right. It's just something even out here with the different things that I asked Perry to come have a kōrero with us. And just to see, because I like to say something, I like to say it where no one's going to come in and dispute it. And say, am I right in what you're thinking? And we have been pretty well right in what we've been saying through what Perry's findings are and our journeys as such. So, but yeah, this place to me is so special. It's a special place. It needs to be nurtured and for well-being, for curing. I think silica water. We can, we learned that's good for you. Well, why do you know that? Because my mother told me it's good for you. The good thing about today and the past, on the scientific side, you think, oh, that's why it's good for us. We know it's good for us. We know what rongo is good for us because I think it's like an animal, and you see them when they're sick or a cat, they'll go and eat grass. Or over here, we've had, with our dogs or our cats, they'll go and drink the silica water. So something's telling you there's something in it. And we had instinct, which we've lost a lot of things. So it's told to us because they said so, but why is it doing that to us? Is what we're finding out today. They play a part on both sides. But, it is very special. People said, oh, there was only, this place was only fern and thing. Come on. Well, there was a mill here. There was a mill at Nukaho. There were native trees in here too. There was big tōtara, remu, not just, where the hot water is. So, I can tell you because that, like you said, how did they get that big tōtara and put it in that water? They wouldn't have pulled it by a horse or, it was there. There was no truck or a crane to put it there. It was there.
I'm not sure what tōtara you're referring to.
There's a big tōtara. These big tōtara. There's one big one at Ohaki. Big tōtara in there that's been there for generations.
In a pool, in a puna, or
It's not just there. When we're digging places, we find them. And we leave them. We bury them. We don't pull them out. I hear. So we hear it all the time. This fern all the way down, he wasn't here. Come on. That's our story. That's our story.
Well, I thank you. It seems like the storytelling could just go on, and everything you think about leads to another story, but that's the rich tapestry of our lives.